part of Big Brother's latest scandal, or is it really a controversy created by the program itself to grab ratings? While broadcast authorities are examining alleged sexual misconduct by two housemates who were kicked out, police have dropped their inquiries because the victim isn't making a formal complaint.
I want my son home. I want to show him. I want to show him that his family is there for him. Can we stop it?
This is reality television. Angry tears from an angry dad.
I'm very proud of him. Very proud of him for how he handled himself in the house, and of everything he's done. You know, he hasn't done anything wrong.
Herman Brick is the father of removed Big Brother housemate John, one of two young men accused of sexual assault.
They were removed from the house yesterday following a breach of the Big Brother rules.
But is it Big Brother or Big Beat Up?
You couldn't put a price on the sort of publicity it's got.
I'd be extremely surprised if this was a publicity stunt.
Last night, an incident occurred in the house. The incident involved John, Ashley and Camilla.
Police have been brought in.
I was very concerned when I heard sexual assault charges.
Even the Prime Minister wanted in on the action.
Well, here's a great opportunity for Channel 10 to do a bit of self-regulation and get this stupid program off the air.
Sexual assault, stupid prank, whatever you call it, Channel 10 is cashing in.
Housemates, they will not be returning to the house again.
What?
Camilla, you have nothing to be sorry for.
Oh, Big Brother, I feel so bad. I'm so sorry.
Here's what all the fuss is about. 4 a.m. Saturday morning. John and Ashley, who are sharing a bed, call out to Camilla.
Can't hear you.
Cam, come over here.
What? What are you doing?
Come over here.
Not going to me, are you?
No. Better.
Curious, Camilla enthusiastically jumps into bed with the boys.
Yay!
Lie down, shut your eyes.
Why?
Just lie down, shut your eyes.
What are you going to do? You're not going to turkey slap me, are you?
No.
You are, you liars.
Camilla is expecting what's called a turkey slap. Apparently, that's when a man rubs his genitals into another person's face. Eagerly, Camilla climbs under the covers.
Sorry?
Let me in. I'll hurt you if you do. Don't come on, bite it.
Go. Turkey salad.
I cannot see is there any sexual assault in there?
John, on the right of your screen, holds Camilla down, while Ashley, on her left-hand side, follows through with the so-called turkey slap.
See, John was just lying next to her all the time.
I just got turkey slapped.
They all thought it was hilarious.
All three of them just played up for the camera.
Australian DJ speaking out for the first time, full of remorse for that royal hoax gone tragically wrong. ABC's Cecilia Vega is in Sydney, Australia with the latest. Good morning, Cecilia.
George, good morning to you. You know, the DJs say this was supposed to be a simple, harmless prank. They say it was supposed to be a phone call that lasted no more than 30 seconds. They thought they would be hung up on immediately. But now we all know that is far from what happened.
Personally, I'm...
The two Australian DJs behind that now infamous phony phone call came out of hiding overnight, offering a tearful apology on Australia's Channel 9 TV to the family of the nurse who became the butt of a joke heard around the world.
Shattered, gutted, heartbroken. Mel and myself are incredibly sorry for the situation and what's happened.
There's not a minute that goes by that we don't think about her family and what they must be going through. And the thought that we may have played a part in that is gut-wrenching.
Oh, hello there. Could I please speak to Kate, please, my granddaughter?
Oh, yes, just hold on, ma'am.
DJs Mel Gregg and Michael Christian say they never imagined they'd get through to the hospital where Kate Middleton was recovering from severe morning sickness. And they never could have predicted what would follow. That days later, Jacinta Saldana, the nurse who patched their call through to Kate's room, would be found dead from an apparent suicide.
We both found out about the same time, and I think it was...
It's the worst phone call I've ever had in my life.
The global backlash has been fierce, from online death threats to calls for prison.
An Australian 60 Minutes crew has been arrested and charged with kidnapping in Lebanon for their involvement in a botched child recovery operation. The crew traveled to Beirut with Australian mother Sally Faulkner on a mission to take back her 2 children, ages 4 and 6, from their father Ali Elamin, who had taken the kids on a holiday vacation to Lebanon and never returned them. As per the judge's ruling Tuesday, 4 members of the crew, along with correspondent Tara Brown, each face 4 charges, including kidnapping and assault. Faulkner and the crew are being slammed by child recovery experts for the dangerous approach they took to get custody of the children in the streets of Beirut. Colin Chapman, the head of Child Recovery Australia, saying, "Doing it in a busy street, that's horrific what the kids were exposed to. There's guns everywhere over there. You don't conduct that sort of operation in the Middle East without expecting to get shot." Luckily, no one was shot, but the children's paternal grandmother, whom the kids were with at the time, is claiming to have been threatened with a gun and later pistol whipped during the encounter. Each person charged is set to individually face a judge later today.
What are you referring to specifically?
Referring to the the drinking problems, referring to what's been called the anti-Semitic rant, referring all those things. You know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so that's almost 4 years ago, dude. I mean, I've moved on. I guess you haven't.
Well, so I'm just wondering if you think that the public has moved on and will perceive you in the same light.
Well, I certainly hope so. You know, it is a while back, and I've done all the necessary mea culpas. So, let's move on, dude. Come on.
Edge of Darkness opens today. It's good to see you back in the saddle and doing what you do best. Thanks a lot for joining us, Mel. Take care.
Bye-bye. Asshole.
Rolf Harris's final taste of freedom. He can be seen here leaving his Berkshire home and taking to the Thames to get to court. The man who spent 6 decades performing for the cameras was today going to extremes to avoid them. Back on land, he was accompanied by his daughter and niece and his bodyguards.
Why won't you apologise, Mr. Harris?
But his wife Alwyn, at his side for much of this trial, was nowhere to be seen. In the years he was entertaining the nation, Rolf Harris was also fooling it. Earlier this week, he was found guilty of 12 counts of indecent assault. One victim was 7 years old. Today, the court heard extracts from victim impact statements. The abused former friend of his daughter said, "The attacks that have happened have made me feel dirty, grubby and disgusting. The whole sordid saga has traumatised me." Another said Harris treated me like a toy. A different victim said, "I carried what Rolf Harris did to me for most of my life. It took away my childhood."
Sentencing Harris, Mr. Justice Sweeney told him he took advantage of the trust placed in him because of his celebrity status. He told him, "You have shown no remorse at all for your crimes. Your reputation now lies in ruins. You have no one to blame but yourself." Rolf Harris took off his glasses and was taken down to the cells.
Even while the trial was going on, new potential victims have been coming forward with allegations of abuse in Britain and Australia. Among them, Louise Anton, who claims Harris groped her at a function 6 years ago. Today she watched as he was jailed for over 5 years. But she's told 5 News she's not entirely satisfied.
I just sort of thought about it as 5 years and 9 months as not a long time for the assault that he's made on these women that were young children at the time. He won't have any career. He won't be able to ever do this again to anybody, and he's been completely outed.
Selama 20 tahun.
As the full weight of Indonesian law fell on Schapelle Corby, she appeared not to understand quite what had happened. Then, after checking with her interpreter, it began to sink in. She turned to glare at prosecutors, then uttered her only words, "Mum, it's okay." Looking a very long way from home, Schapelle Corby cried at the prospect of jail till she's 47 years old. At the back of the court, there was the same confusion at first, then bitter fury from Corby's sister and mother, directed squarely at the judges.
It's not all right! We'll stand
was a hammer blow for a family that had held out hope against the seemingly inevitable, even as they'd arrived at court.
My daughter's coming home.
There was little over the first hour and a half of the judgment to indicate which way the decision might flow, and Schapelle Corby even looked relaxed at times. But that all fell away as the judges began to spell out how they judged the witnesses in the case. The Indonesian customs officials who'd found the marijuana in Schapelle Corby's bag were accepted as truthful. Every single defence witness, those who'd tried to suggest someone else planted the drugs, were ruled as irrelevant to the judgment. Friends, relatives, a baggage handler and prisoner John Ford. None of them could prove who else had planted the drugs, the judges said. Then the judges turned to Corby herself, saying she was convincingly proved to have trafficked the drugs. The actions of the accused were a danger to the community, the judges read. This was a transnational crime that could damage the minds of young people. The die had been cast. Before she was led away, Schapelle Corby fought past police to embrace her mother. Her last words before leaving court sounding as if she was seeking spiritual solace.
This has been another extraordinary day in the life of Schapelle Corby. She spent her last day in Bali under the protection of Indonesian police and under intense security.
Almost 13 years after she touched down in Bali for a 2-week holiday, finally today Schapelle Corby is heading home. Her exit marked